Hi, it's Tim Constantine from the Washington Times. They tell us in this upcoming presidential election that there are 7 swing states. Those 7 states are likely to decide who will be the 47th president of the United States. Now, interesting fact, 3 of those states have voted together as a bloc literally as long as I can remember. If you take Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, they voted almost every time. They all voted Democrat. In 2016, however, they all voted for Donald Trump, the Republican. Will they vote as a bloc this year? Maybe, maybe not. We'll find out, I guess. But here to help us decipher what it all means and what we may see this coming week, the senator from Wisconsin, Ron Johnson. Senator, how are you?
I'm doing well. Hope you are too.
I am indeed. Thanks for joining us. Obviously you're on the ground, not only in Wisconsin, you're working with President Trump and other places as well, but in your own home state, what do you see? What do you feel? You know it better than anybody.
Well, I've been saying in the sane world with an unbiased media, this election wouldn't even be close. And honestly, that's the way it feels. I mean, there's so much enthusiasm on our side that people are looking at the last almost 4 years of Democrat governance under Biden-Harris. They know what a disaster it is. The open border, we've let about 7.8 million people have been released into this country is the best number I can come up with. That's a number larger than the population of 38 states. And that's the magnitude of the problem. In Wisconsin, we're primarily seeing that and experiencing it as drug flow. We used to have meth labs here in Wisconsin. Not anymore. They get meth cheaper and higher quality from our porous border. And of course, the fentanyl deaths are just tragic. 40-year high inflation. It's costing Wisconsinites more than $1,000 a month more to live, just basic needs, than it did start the Biden administration. So the Biden administration has been a disaster. Democrat, which is radical left ideology and policies, are destroying this country, and we certainly understand that. I don't know what Democrats are enthused about. Again, they're going to play the old abortion game card again. That's going to be their playbook. And lies. I mean, all they have are lies. They can't run on their record. Kamala Harris out there saying she wants to turn the page on your own administration. Again, they've literally got nothing. And what's really galling is she said that she's tired of the playbook of fear and division. Well, that's their playbook. Fear of climate change, fear of the pandemic, fear of Donald Trump, of Hitler, and division. That's what identity politics and critical race theory is all about. So again, it's so galling. Democrats falsely accuse Republicans of doing exactly what they do in spades.
It's interesting because I always look when I try to get a feel for what's going on, when I try to predict what's likely to happen, you look at factual information. You look at the polling data, you look at voter registration. There are more Republicans number of places now. You look at historical data, what's happened in that state in the past. But the one that I always look at that's harder to pinpoint is what's the feel coming out of any campaign. And you just mentioned it. When I see the Harris campaign comparing Trump to Hitler, to me, that's the desperation move. I think, oh my gosh, their interior polls must tell them something, because the idea that that is your playbook in the closing days is disturbing.
Yeah, I mean, those campaign actions are not the actions of a winning campaign, of a confident campaign. I thought one of the best lines in the Madison Square Garden rally was from Tucker Carlson when he said that Kamala Harris will never be accused of doing anything useful. What she'll be accused of is doing all kinds of things that are destructive, like opening up our borders. So no, again, in a sane world, this election wouldn't even be close. But I think the real wild card here is, again, why did they open up the border? Why did Joe Biden issue executive orders to direct his agencies and departments to register voters? I'm sure that's going to be on a nonpartisan basis, and then flood millions and millions of people to come in here. They're very grateful to Joe Biden and Democrats for letting them in without valid asylum claims. So that's the wild card. We're already seeing evidence of illegal immigrants, non-citizens being registered to vote, sometimes without their knowledge. A couple different instances now in Pennsylvania involving thousands of votes. Again, Democrats resist every effort to secure the vote. Voter ID, proof of U.S. citizenship. Why do they want to make it easier to cheat? Because they want to cheat, and they do cheat. And so the $64,000 question is, can we have such an overwhelming result that's just too big to rig?
Well, and that's my question. When you say too big to rig, is do you worry? I mean, genuinely worry, not just, yeah, it's out there, but do you worry that cheating could change the outcome of the 2024 election?
and I've been writing about it. What's interesting is even digital platforms like Fox News and the Wall Street Journal won't take my op-eds I've written about the lack of election integrity, particularly illegal immigrants voting, smurfing. The fact that the FBI director completely looked flummoxed when I asked him in a secure briefing, what is the FBI doing to investigate these millions of dollars flowing into Act Blue being dispersed in small donations without the donors' knowledge? Again, so there's so much evidence of corruption, of crime being committed, impacting our elections. FBI, they're and the media, they're worried about Russia influence, China influence, but they're not looking at the real influence where they could be funneling millions of dollars in Democratic coffers. And of course, they completely ignore what they did in 2020 with the 51 intelligence officials interfering on an election to a greater extent than anything I've ever seen in my lifetime. With that letter that said the Hunter Biden laptop was had all the earmarks of a Russian information operation.
It's become part of the Democrat playbook is to gather a number of officials, to recruit a number of officials to sign something and then wave that around. This year it's, 19 Nobel laureates have signed off on an economic plan. And I think, as soon as I see a number by an organized party, I discount it because I think, well, they didn't just randomly pop up and sign that. Clearly, they were recruited. That doesn't seem like credible info.
Pay no attention to the success that Donald Trump had in terms of a record economy and the disaster that the Biden-Harris administration has with 40-year high inflation.
Yeah, vote for change. Vote for the person who's sitting there right now. That one absolutely flummoxes me. I don't get it. Whomever wins really needs, in order to be most effective, needs the United States Senate as well. In order to pass judges, justices, top-level officials, you need the advice and consent of your group, the United States Senate. How do you see that shaking out? How is it looking for the Republicans taking back the U.S. Senate?
Well, I think we're odds-on favorite for doing so. Joe Manchin retired. We almost have West Virginia locked. It looks like Montana's looking very good. I think Ohio. Eric Hovde's got a real good chance here in Wisconsin. If you want to help out, erichovde.com. We've got other races where we may just win as well. Again, if this is what it feels like it could be, we could sweep in 3 or 4 additional Republican senators as well. But again, I'm so cautious because we all expected a red tsunami in 2022. It's like, how bad would it have to get before the American people open its eyes? Now, 2022 was heavily impacted by the Dobbs decision and, again, the fear-mongering, the false attacks on Republicans regarding abortion and contraceptive and IVF. Again, they're still continuing to lie about those things, but I don't think it's having quite as big an impact in 2024 as it did in 2022.
Any prediction before I let you go? What do you expect to see? A, will we have an answer Tuesday night, or will it take an extra day or two? And B, what will that answer be?
Listen, I don't make predictions. I'm nervous about this. I don't call my chickens before they hatch. I'm hoping for such an overwhelming result that it can be called. If this is a close election, no matter how it goes, I do fear civil unrest. I truly do. I mean, this has been, this election has been so unbelievably dishonest. And again, with the open border process, again, I would fear that on both sides. And let's face it, in 2020, storefronts in big cities didn't board up in case of Joe Biden winning.
Right.
Okay, so again, if Donald Trump wins, it's the left is the violent side of the political spectrum. 500 plus riots in the summer of 2020. The left provides political violence, not the right.
Fair enough. Scary thoughts? Hopefully, we have a peaceful election no matter who the winner. Senator Ron Johnson, thank you, my friend. I appreciate the time.
Have a great day.